I'm going to be answering some questions, bypassing some of the older ones temporarily to address, and I hope that those older ones are applicable in the future. You know, I hope that if things really fall apart, that I'm more of a Rick Grimes type of um, apocalyptic leader. Not like the governor or Negan. Okay, and guys, don't mistake my cynicism. I'm a Gen Xer, so don't mistake my cynicism for my complete appreciation for the gravity of the situation. But at the same time, it doesn't do anybody any good to panic. We have too much of that, and everybody needs to calm down. We can get through this together. We are getting through this together. And, I'm more of a solution oriented kind of individual anyway. Um, I like high stress situations. That's why I'm in the job I'm in. Just so, if, like I said, don't mistake my humor, I guess you could say, for the fact that I absolutely appreciate what's going on and I get how serious it is. Um, but like I said, it's got to be a little bit of humor in here. Okay, so I really need some guidance as I file a due process hearing, a civil rights hearing against the school a day before they closed. So did I. We did. And guys, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. We still have the timelines. They still have to move forward when it comes to due process. Even though it's sort of attached to the education system, it's a legal process. And in fact, it's a legal process that the education departments really don't have any authority to manipulate at this point. We're lawyers. I don't work for them. And the judges or the hearing officers are all impartial hearing officers, and they don't necessarily work for the state either. Um, so this is where, and I'm talking about the state departments of education. So this is where, yes, we're having to be flexible, but all last week, guys, first week of the closure, we were busy the entire week. Uh, Normal conference calls, normal settlement meetings. The only thing that we are trying to determine is future meetings. What are we going to do with hearing dates? So we've been pushing those out a little bit, which is fairly normal. But in this way, we're trying to sort of let all of this play itself out to a point to see what the future looks like. And right now, I just was having a discussion with my wife yesterday. We can't look at the future currently, which is odd. I'm talking about no vacations. We can't plan anything. Um, Me and all of you out there, it's an odd time. Okay. But like I said, we are working through that. So what I've suggested in my cases is that we move all of our resolution meetings to Zoom, which we're doing. I've got one scheduled on Tuesday with an attorney, and we're also moving. We're trying to get our mediations rescheduled and done through video conferencing. So things are still moving forward. The only thing that we don't know at this point is how much of an impact the COVID-19 legislation, the emergency recovery thing that the Congress is trying to put together. There's a provision in there that, as of right now, would give the education secretary 30 days to report back to the various congressional and Senate committees on recommended limited waivers that the education secretary believes is necessary to assist the states and the local school systems, the state education departments and local systems in getting through this. That includes the timelines, things of that nature with regards to IDEA. Now, my concern with that is that we already have a lot of the mechanisms already in place to where I don't really think we need a waiver system. What we do need is a lot of educators that are competent enough in this law that understand it to be able to use those things, and some are. I'm already seeing school systems be proactive in trying to get meetings scheduled with parents either on the telephone or video conferencing, in order to work through the procedural stuff like the timelines. And I'm going to discuss that on another video question here shortly. So look that up if you're interested on what I recommend parents need to do when they get called to have a meeting over video conference or over the telephone during this time period. It's important. This legislation is important. The unknown about what is a limited waiver, I don't know what they mean by that. What I do know, though, is that this is a Civil Rights Act. 504 is a Civil Rights Act, so they can't just destroy it. But at the same time, I don't trust government. I fight government every day. And, governments do weird things. They do damaging things when the people are panicked, when there's fear, and when there's ignorance. Those three things are damaging combinations to vulnerable population groups, okay? Because that's where scapegoating starts. But in this particular situation, I'm not seeing scapegoating being the special needs population or disability population. What I'm seeing is a reaction to a knee-jerk reaction to try to distance itself from the responsibilities attached to providing children a free and appropriate public education, using this closure as the excuse. And I don't think the government has the authority to sit there and say, well, you don't have to provide a FAPE this year. But like I said, I'm going to keep all of you updated. But with regards to you, the timeline's still going. So the process should continue. They should assign a hearing officer. They should continue to do the investigation, at least until this legislation passes, and then we'll sort of have a clear understanding, unless we're able to stop that legislation from being inserted in there. Okay?